Welcome to TQ Training. Today we're looking at Spreadsheet Tutorial 6, Charts, Part 1 of 2. We're going to look at types of chart, the layout and clarity of charts, and chart features. Here we have a column chart. Sometimes these are called bar charts, but a bar would go across, whereas a column goes up and down. Second kind of chart is a pie chart, and the third most common type of chart is a line chart, otherwise known as a line graph. Those are the three main types that you will be using. There are many other types of chart and graph that you can create on spreadsheets, but these are the three most common ones. Going back to our passenger chart, it's very important when you create a chart that the layout is right and that it's clear. So we're looking at layout and clarity. We've used colours to differentiate. That's one way of making it clear. The size of it makes it clear, but then there are also key things which need to feature in a graph or a chart. The first one we have here is the chart title. This one is number of passengers. Down the side we have numbers and we have a legend or a title. So we know that this one goes from 0 to 350, but this could be 350 pounds, could be 350 people, could be 350 anything. So we've labelled it as passenger numbers up the side. So we know that this line here, 300 passengers. We know that these are flight numbers because we've labelled that axis as flight number. What makes this one so effective is that without understanding flights or flight numbers, without knowing what the source material was that created this, you can immediately see that flight KWE 8475 had more passengers than the other flights, and the XYZ 7025 had the least number of passengers. This information, this chart, was created from these numbers. If you are presenting data and helping people to understand data, this isn't that clear. It contains information such as destination that we didn't need to know. The chart took out the data that we didn't need and focused on the data that we did. Now let's have a look at our holiday cost chart. This is a different type of chart. There are no axes, it's not plotted as a graph. This is a pie chart. But again, we have a title, breakdown of spending. So we know that this is the amount to be spent and that it's broken down into smaller chunks. Each colour is labelled and they're done in different colours that differentiate. So these two different shades of blue really stand out as being different. The labels allow us to see that flights in total are coming to £274, and that's 25% of the whole budget. The colour and the layout allows you to understand some basics. If you had no concept of percentages and no concept of money, you could still see that accommodation is the biggest chunk of the budget because it covers the most area of the pie, and that miscellaneous is the smallest part of the budget. So again, here's where a chart can help people understand numbers and understand concepts without having a lot of basic knowledge. This information came from this holiday cost breakdown sheet. Pie charts are really effective when you have a total or a full amount that's broken down into smaller amounts. The third chart we looked at was our line chart or line graph. Again, we have a title. We have axes and they are labelled, so we know that these are euros. We know that these are months. We have what are called grid lines. These are the lines running across that allow us to read information across the chart. So if I wanted to look at December, I can follow this line, see that that line touches around about there, follow it back to see it's around about 1.25. So grid lines have helped make this clear. And it has the key features of the title, the axes labels and the individual labels, and the line itself we've done in red. It's quite bold, it's clear and easy to read. If we look at the source material, here we have the months and here we have how many euros you're getting for a pound. If you were to present this information to somebody, they probably are going to struggle to see any patterns or any trends because numbers look very similar and there's a lot of numbers and it's not eye-catching and there's no real desire to look at it. A graph is a lot more eye-catching. and we can see real clear trends. Trends such as there was quite a steep climb in how many euros you were getting for a pound between January and February, but then that increase levelled off for a month. There was a slow decrease for a month. We had a couple of months where it was remaining the same, and then we had several months in a row where there was steady climbs that became more steep climbs towards the end, and then over a period of October through to December there was quite a significant drop. We can also see other trends, such as the start of the year was a lot lower than the end of the year, and that there were key times of the year where there were peaks and troughs. So whenever you create your chart, make sure that it always has a title, it's always clearly labelled, and that it serves its purpose of allowing someone to understand the data. So you take information like that and turn it into something that can be understood like that. The purpose of today's session was to look at the types of chart, and we've looked at the three most common ones: layout and clarity of a chart and its features. Spreadsheets are easy to play with, and the format and functions that you now have within versions of Excel allow you to play with charts and create lots of different versions very quickly and very effectively, and that will be covered in tutorial 7.